Chapter 7 of The Creature from Beyond Infinity by Henry Kuttner. Read by Mark Nelson. This LibriVox recording is in the public domain. The Creature from Beyond Infinity, Chapter 7, Doom. On the 2nd of January, 1941, Stephen Court left for Canada. His cabin plane contained 2 passengers and a good deal of equipment. Marion Barton went with him, and he had allowed Sammy to go along. The old man had been reformed in every other respect, but wanderlust can be removed from a man only by the surgery of death. "I won't be no trouble, Stevie," he had argued. "I get itchy feet this time of year, and besides, I never rode in an airplane. Anyhow," his watery eyes narrowed, cunning, "you'll need a handyman to do odd jobs. I can help you unpack and other things." To save argument that would waste time, Court had agreed. It was a clear, bitingly cold day when the plane took off from the Wisconsin flying field. Luckily, the weather reports were good. Though there was no danger of snow, Court flew at low altitude, fearing that ice would form on their wings. The excitement of hurtling the plane at high speed made him uncharacteristically talkative. His gaunt cheeks were flushed, and he chatted with the others with unusual animation and warmth. Sammy did not talk much, but he listened and occasionally asked a question. "Plague, eh?" he said once. "I was in the South once when a plague hit. It was pretty awful. Kids and women, we couldn't bury 'em fast enough. I sure hope it ain't like that." "We'll see," Court said. "I can't do much till I examine this fellow Losico. For that matter," he frowned, pondering, "I really haven't enough equipment with me. I've got to bring Losico back to my lab." "But you say it's contagious," Marion protested. "How can we travel?" "I've arranged that. I'm having an ambulance made ready. It'll be plated with several thicknesses of lead, which ought to be safe enough. They're sending the car after me as soon as it's ready." "Oh," Marion said. She fell silent, watching the mountains and lakes glide past below. "You know," Court observed after a time, "I came across an interesting angle, a completely unexpected one. I've been getting photographs from most of the observatories. While I found no trace of my X in space, I did notice something else, a satellite of some kind circling the Earth. No one's noticed it before, it's so small and travels so fast, but it seems to be made of homogeneous metal." "Iron?" "Smooth metal, Marion, not pitted and rough as an asteroid would be. It's made of pure gold, or some yellow metal that resembles gold." The girl looked sharply at Court. "A spaceship?" "Possibly. But why wouldn't it come down if it's a ship? Has it been circling the Earth for ages?" "But where could it have come from?" "Some ancient civilization might have mastered space travel, though I doubt that. If it is a spaceship, it probably came from some other planet." "There's nothing in history about it," Marion said. "If one spaceship could come here, probably so would a lot more." "Nothing in history? No, but there's a lot in mythology and folklore. I'm just guessing, of course. I'm anxious to find out more about that highly unnatural satellite." She was silent, fascinated by the thought. "How can you reach it?" she asked. "It looks impossible," he admitted. "Space travel is impossible to us today. That's one reason. You see, Marion, if it really is a spaceship, it may mean Earth's salvation. To be completely rational, we must consider that perhaps the plague can't be conquered. If it is a spaceship, we may be able to leave the Earth and go to another planet. If those worlds are also in danger, we could leave the system. We couldn't do that with the modern rocket fuels. Suppose that strangely colored satellite is a genuine spaceship. one that has already traveled across the interstellar void. Repairing it would be less work than inventing one. "It's worth trying," Marion breathed hopefully. "I may fail. That's why I want to find out more about X. The spaceship's a dangerously long chance, and I don't want to gamble everything on one throw of the dice. When I see Losico—" Time wore on. Sammy asked innumerable questions about the plague, but when he exhausted his curiosity, he went to sleep. The plane sped over the border and into Canada. It was afternoon before they reached the landing field. An automobile met them and took them into town, another following with Sammy and the equipment. At the hospital they were greeted by Dr. Granger, a shriveled gnome of a man with one tuft of white hair standing straight up from his bald skull.
"Court," he said in relief, "am I glad you're here. Are you hungry?"
No. Characteristically, Court did not bother to introduce anyone. "Where's the patient?"
"In the left wing of the hospital. We've cleared out everyone else. You'll have to put on the lead suit. We have only one, unfortunately."
Court seemed transformed into a swift, emotionless machine. He hastily donned the form-fitting suit of canvas, with leaden scales sewed closely over the surface. As he followed Granger to the door, the physician paused.
"I'd better not go farther. I don't know exactly how far the radiation extends. It wilts gold leaf at quite some distance."
Court nodded, got his directions, and clumped ponderously out the door. He went along the corridor until he found the patient's room. Any other man would have hesitated before entering, but Court was not like any other man. Without stopping, he pushed open the door. The bare, white-walled chamber was spotlessly sterile. A case of instruments lay open on a table, a hypodermic needle in view. On the bed, a man was sprawled. Peering through lead-infiltrated goggles, Court came closer. Losico was unconscious. No, he was asleep. His spare, wasted frame was barely fleshy enough to make a visible shape under the coverlets. On the pillow lay the withered, skull face of an incredibly old man. Losico was 23 years of age. His mouth was toothless. Hanging open helplessly, it revealed his ugly, blackened gums. His skull was hairless, with ears that were large and malformed, and his nose, too, was enlarged. The repulsive skin dangled in loose, sagging wrinkles. Pouches hung slack on his naked skull. Court went to the window and drew down the shades. In the gloom, a queer, silvery light was visible at once. It came from the patient's face. Court stripped off the covers, exposing Losico's gaunt, nude body. Like the ghastly face, it gleamed with a silvery radiance that did not pulse or wane, but remained steady. "Losico!" Court called out sharply. When he gripped the thin shoulder, the man shuddered convulsively, and his eyes opened. They were not human eyes. They were pools of white radiance, like shining smoke in eye sockets. "Losico, can you hear me?" Court asked quietly. A cracked whisper came from the withered lips.
"Yes, yes, monsieur."
"Can you see me?"
"I can. No, monsieur, not with my eyes. I am blind, but I can see you, somehow."
Court frowned, puzzled, as he pondered the weird reply. "What do you see?"
"You are covered with armor, I think. I do not know how I can tell this. I am blind."
"I am a doctor," Court said. "If you can talk without pain, I'd want you to answer some questions."
"Out, monsieur. Bien."
"Are you in pain?"
"No, yes. I am hungry. It is strange. I am hungry and thirsty, but I do not want food. Something I do not understand."
Court waited for him to continue. When Losico did not, he went on with another line of reasoning. "Tell me about this